Hey everyone, this is Josh from before, and I'm here with some custom action figures that you may have already gotten a glimpse of if you watched my recent video where I did a walkthrough of a City Dio that I made with a couple of friends of mine. These figures are characters from a comic I'm working on called Drop Shadow, about a graphic designer vigilante, and I wanted the comic book to have retro styled toy ad, inspired by toy print ads from the 80s and 90s. So with the help of my friend Danny, who runs the toy channel Galactic Geek, go check him out. That's galactic_geek. And our friend Wilson put these figures together. You can probably tell they're mostly Marvel Legends based. I wanted to take a closer look at them and show you what went into putting them all together. So we'll start with our hero here. This is the titular character, Drop Shadow, the graphic designer vigilante. By day, he is a graphic designer named Matt Finish, and he is preoccupied with bad design choices, and they drive him nuts. So if he sees a billboard that it has poor font choices, or if he's at the coffee shop and the menu on the wall has typos, it just drives him nuts, and he's committed to correcting the bad design in Canvas City. And this figure was made with the body here is a Killmonger, Marvel Legends Killmonger. We were looking for something that is a literal, real world based, just felt like something somebody could kind of put together with stuff in their closet. The armor plates maybe being a little bit of a stretch, but that's all right. It makes them look heroic. And then this is obviously a Gambit trench coat. And the thing about customs, I'm always trying as hard as I can to avoid taking the limbs off, especially on Legends. It's not particularly easy, and it always stresses me out, worries me that I'm going to break the figure. But we did that for this to give him an arm swap, and then hit him with little spackles of paint splatter. This is a Gambit head with a little piece of plastic bag over here as his bandana. Obviously, his costume is somewhat inspired by the Shadow, but we gave him this sort of Tagger style baseball cap that came from a Jazzwares Fortnite abstract, and we used the rest of that abstract character, that abstract figure, in another character. But this roller came from abstract as well. He's holding a spray can, which is actually just, if you can see under there, this is a tube. This is hot glue, a tiny thin tube of hot glue that we just wrapped with some stickers that we had and put some dabbles of paint on it like it'd been spraying with it. So that's Drop Shadow, ready to save the day. And this is his plucky sidekick, Solid Stroke. The name Solid Stroke being a Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator based sort of joke. A solid stroke being when you draw a line, you can make it solid or you can make it dotted. And this character is made using the body of that aforementioned Jazzwares Fortnite abstract, who just looks like a graffiti tagger. Didn't do a ton to this guy to make him much different than the base figure. We just splattered some paint on him, gave him these little strappies on his legs with a couple paint cans. And in the you see in that City Dio video, we had him rigged up with an airbrush, and he was riding on a wave of paint. Kind of similar to something like you'd see like Iceman, in the X-Men or something, sort of surfing on a wave that he's creating as he goes along. Solid Stroke's secret identity is Phil Stroke, which is yet another pun. His name is Phil, but in Photoshop, Fill, F-I-L-L, is when you fill a shape with a color, so the puns just keep on coming. And what is a dark costumed vigilante hero without a anarchic clown villain? This is Comic Sans. If you're familiar with the infamous font Comic Sans, and you, I think, get the source of his name there, Comic Sans is kind of known for being a bad font choice, a silly, stupid font. And so we've made this character with the Marvel Legends Vulture. His ruffles here are from NECA Pennywise, and the palms are from that Pennywise as well, and they've been painted. And actually, you can kind of see these we didn't even bother to even fix on permanently or like seal, because we knew it was going to be good enough for the photos that we could just kind of cinch them on there. And this material is so gummy and bad. Like, just the paint never feels like it dries when you put it on there. If you've worked with it before, you kind of know what I'm talking about. And for this guy, we created this hair, this clown nose, and these big broad clown shoes, all out of sugru. It is a sculpting material that is it hardens. You get it out of the package, you sculpt with it, and then like 30 minutes later it hardens into this kind of rubbery material. So that's what these are made out of, and actually his paintbrush as well is made out of sugru. That's Comic Sans, the jester of JPEGs. Next up is our Catwoman-esque character, Heather Gray. She's a colorblind cat burglar who steals colors from Canvas City. See her, she wants everyone else to see things the way she does, which is a world where value and contrast are the foundation of good design. Oh. She is made with that recent Black Widow body. I think it was a Walmart exclusive, the comic Black Widow. And this is a Spider-Woman head, which I really liked because it had these glasses. And her motorcycle, I don't have a good like pun name for this motorcycle yet. It needs something like the Color Wheel, you know, something of that nature. But I just found this on Amazon. It was cheap, and I can't even recall the brand name, but it is extremely common. There were a bazillion Amazon returns for 1/12 scale motorcycles. We painted it silver. You can see I didn't want to deal with trying to pop some of these clear plastic pieces off. So you could see with the base green under there. But it worked well enough for our purposes. Again, we were using these for still photos, so I knew that we would we'd be able to use Photoshop if there were any kind of spot errors. So next up we have another villain here, Typeface. And if you understand that a typeface is another word for a font, Typeface, it sounds like a Dick Tracy or the Tick kind of inspired ridiculous, grotesque villain. This is the Joe Fixit Build-A-Fig from Marvel Legends. And then for the typewriter head, I was really trying to find like a dollhouse size typewriter. I was having a hard time doing it. And my friend Wilson found this tutorial on YouTube how to make one out of clay and stuff. And he was really dying to try it, and he ended up being right because it turned out amazing. It's just mostly sculpting clay. You can see these pieces of an old zipper. This is a hair clip, different colored clay for the white piece of paper, and it looks hilarious. He's got just such an expressive face when you look at it like that. And then the real bit of genius was, while the clay was still soft before we baked it, we pushed it onto this ball peg, so it has this recessed spot in it. And we put just sticky tack on there to kind of keep it a little more sturdy. But now put it on there, and he can move his head. Pretty badass. This guy is one of my favorites. He just turned out so cool. And then now this cluster of characters over here, I consider these to be like the B-list villains. Quite literally, actually, in the case of this guy, who is Mr. Bees. And Mr. Bees, the idea just came about because I thought it was a really funny, stupid thing. It just sounds like Mr. Freeze, but then the idea being like bees, like the insect bees. And so I kind of forced it into the world of Drap Shadow, made him a guy who's obsessed with the letter bees. But everything else is still the same. He still has this gun that shoots swarms of killer bees. We even, you know, added the yellow stripe against the black to kind of suggest the insect bee as well as the letter B. He's made with a AIM soldier. Found this little silly dome thing that we just threw on top of there, and it actually kind of worked. He's got some CO2 canisters strapped to his back with just rubber bands that have been Sharpied black. I think a Sharpie paint pen to put these bees on after we painted him white. I mean, at this point, I just think it's a funny character because it's like not a great idea. Just the bees, it's not very fleshed out. It's kind of stupid. It amuses me. And now here we have our version of the Riddler. This is the Query. And I think the joke of his name is pretty self-evident. The body's made from a Marvel Legends Frogman. This head is from a wrestler. I can't think of his name right now. He just had the right look. This flagpole here is a Gambit's stick. I tried to give him this spongy paint app to be like it was a hairy, like a bear, you know. But I mean, it didn't look 100% fantastic, but it worked well enough for the photo. And the query being a concept in search engines and internet-based UI UX. The query represents sort of web design. So you see, we kind of it's not all specifically graphic design. It kind of branches into other disciplines, you know, and we could explore even architecture, interior design, anything like that that has principles of design in it. You could kind of just spin terms of phrases and coin new characters, you know, pretty easily. And then finally here is Flash. Flash, another sort of web design based gag. The idea of like Flash Player and even Adobe Flash also being just obsolete, no longer supported on life support. A shadow of his former glory days, and this is obviously made with Marvel Legends Xavier from Logan. Painted his cardigan red and put these little embellishments from McFarlane DC Multiverse Flash, Rebirth Flash. Another CO2 tank with a little bread tie there as his oxygen tank. And then the only ones I don't have here that you would have seen in the video are the secret identities of Drop Shadow and Solid Stroke. There is Matte Finish, who is made with a Marvel Legends TVA Loki body and a Paul Rudd Ant-Man head. And then Phil Stroke is the Hood from Marvel Legends with a Chris Pratt Star-Lord head. So that is the roster, the character roster for Drop Shadow. I will have more information about the comic book as it becomes available, which will be very soon. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all next time.